So we'll take all this into the boardroom, and I'll just lay it out on the table. So obviously what I'm carrying here is one Gro-wall Slimline kit, and these are something that we've been promoting pretty heavily. I bought too many, so we'll lay them out on the table and show you what's in there. Atlantis make this. This is a Gro-wall that they released to take on the big hardware chain stuff that was being sold. Atlantis weren't big fans of moving into that hardware market, or the big brand hardware market, but they needed something that they could sell to the end user that was cost effective. The tough thing with their big kit is, you know, the market price for that's $220 to $240 for a kit. They've brought this into the market. We were selling it around $99. It didn't take as much traction as I expected it to in the early stages, and so we've got them on special at the moment. If you have a look on our website, we'll basically drop them. We've got them on special until they sell. I'm actually giving some of these away at the moment. I wanted to try and I guess pay it forward to a degree and give some to schools and kindergartens. So the kit comes with some screws. It comes with these, I guess, lock-in pins, geotextile membrane fabric, so that goes into the bottom of the pots, and these pots drain into themselves. So you'll see there's some holes in the bottom of the pots. It looks like, as they've done with their other ones, 13mm poly will push onto those, which so you could create your own drainage network if you were concerned. Most of the time when these get installed, they're getting installed on a wall above paving and concrete, and so you'll get that issue that the water drains through, the water's dirty, and then it puts dirty water on the ground. So this is one kit. One kit comes with 6 pots. So these are the pots. So there's 3 pots per rack, and then those 2 racks sit next to each other, and then you use these red hooks. So I'll peel a couple off and push them in. Pretty simple. So if anyone was interested in putting a Gro-wall in, this is a good entry-level one. It'd be good for kids. That's why we're giving this away. We're giving 10 of these away to schools and kindies. The other Gro-walls can be planted out a lot more dense. They're kind of more self-supporting and probably less likely to be able to be vandalized. So this is probably more suited to a residential environment or an area that's being watched. So as you can see, I've just pushed those pegs in there, and they're just hanging. So that's just hanging from there. That's pretty free, so you can take them off, and that could be an issue from a vandalism point of view. You'll see that there's this little, I guess, recess there that would be designed so that 19 or 13mm poly can be strung across these pots. And so you'd manifold irrigation down the side and then run it across and put 1 or 2, I'd say 2 drippers in here. The bigger Gro-wall kits have a deeper pot, so you've got a lot more literage of soil medium per square metre of fascia, so you can put bigger plants and your maintenance is going to be much more reduced. Unless you planted quite a drooping plant in this Gro-wall kit, I don't imagine that you're going to be able to get the Gro-wall covered, and I'd be interested to test it, and it's probably something we should do. But I think that you'll find that this is a good way to have some hanging pots and have your plants on the wall, but I don't imagine that you're going to get that kind of real dense grow coverage. I'll finish it off just so that we've got them all in. It's really weird. There we go. So all the water from the top pots will drain down into the pots below. So it's important to think about your drainage if you care. Obviously, if it's just sitting above a garden bed, you might be fine with the water just falling out. The other thing as well is because of the first pot draining into the second pot, and the second pot draining into the third pot, it might be a case that you can put drainage just on the bottom pots. So with drainage, water's going to fall from that pot into that pot, and then that pot into that pot, and then you can put some 13mm on the bottom of these and then run that into a drain or into a garden bed. Obviously the geotextile pads aren't going to work if you don't put them in, so they'll go into the pot. That'll stop your soil from leaving the pot and keep it all nice. So once you run your irrigation across through there, these clips go on, so then your irrigation pipe's being held in by those red clips. I can't imagine it being a problem. Obviously, your irrigation pipe's going to droop when it's full of water. So you've got your 6 pots, irrigation dripping into each pot, and then you'll have your water source down here being a garden tap or an automatic solenoid valve running up to the top and running across. They've manifolded it at that end. a thing this size, I wouldn't consider that necessary. It's just going to ensure even flow, but I would say that that's unnecessary. And then just remembering to have some kind of drainage below, either a catchment tray or push some 13mm pipe onto the bottom of those. That's it, really quite simple. They've planted some succulents in there. You could plant anything that doesn't require much of a root zone. I'd say these pots are probably 6 litres, if that. The biggest Atlantis has 6 litres per thing. So if you go look at the Gro-wall 4.5, the amount of volume here would be just here. So you get a lot more for your money. It's a lot more structurally, it's a lot stronger. So these are on sale at the moment at waterpro.com.au. Check it out, we ship these nationwide. So yeah, if you're interested, hit us up. This is the entry level Gro-wall from the Atlantis range. So above that is the Slim Pro and above that is the 4.5. So if you're not sure and you've been thinking about potentially getting a Gro-wall at some point, this could be a good way to, I guess, get into the Gro-wall market. But yeah, take a look.